Hey everyone, I'm Brian with Sustainably Rooted, where we break down sustainable living into easy, actionable steps. Today we're tackling a topic that causes a lot of head-scratching: recycling. What goes in the bin? What stays out? You might be surprised to learn that many common beliefs about recycling are actually myths, and these misconceptions have some serious consequences. We're talking contaminated batches, wasted resources, and a whole lot of confusion. But don't worry, I'm here to set the record straight. In this video we're diving deep into the world of recycling, debunking those pesky myths, and giving you the knowledge to recycle like a pro. Get ready to become a recycling ninja, because once you know the rules, you'll be amazed at how much easier it is to do your part for the planet. Let's get started. Let's kick things off with the basics. Paper and cardboard. You're probably thinking, easy, these always go in the recycling. Well, yes and no. While most paper products are recyclable, there's a catch. They need to be clean and free of food residue. Think about it. Would you want to wear a shirt made from yesterday's pizza box? Probably not. The same goes for recycled paper products. Grease, food scraps, and oil can contaminate entire batches of recycling, making them unusable. So, before you toss that cardboard box or cereal box into the recycling bin, give it a quick check. If it's got food residue, tear off the contaminated parts, or, if it's too far gone, just toss it in the trash. For cardboard boxes, flattening them is always a good idea. It not only saves space in your bin, but also makes it easier for recycling facilities to process them. And remember, those little plastic windows on envelopes? They need to go in the trash. By keeping your paper and cardboard clean and separating any non-recyclable parts, you're ensuring that these valuable materials can actually be recycled into new products. Alright, let's talk about another recycling staple: plastic bottles and jugs. Most cities accept plastic bottles and jugs labeled with the numbers 1 and 2. These are your everyday water bottles, milk jugs, shampoo containers, you know the drill. Now here's where things get interesting. Contrary to popular belief, you should actually leave the caps on your plastic bottles and jugs when recycling them. I know, it seems counterintuitive. But here's the deal, those little caps are often made from a different type of plastic than the bottle itself. When separated, they can end up contaminating other recycling streams. Leaving them on ensures they get recycled properly. Of course, before you toss those bottles and jugs in the bin, give them a quick rinse to remove any leftover liquids. No need to go overboard. A simple rinse will do the trick. And don't worry about removing the labels. Those get taken care of during the recycling process. Now, for a recycling myth that trips a lot of people up: plastic bags and wrappers. These might seem recyclable, but in most cases they're actually a big no-no. Here's why. Plastic bags and wrappers are notorious for getting tangled in the machinery at recycling facilities, causing jams and delays. And nobody wants to be responsible for a recycling plant shutdown, right? So, what's the best way to deal with those pesky plastic bags? Many grocery stores now have designated bins for plastic bag recycling. Simply collect your clean, dry plastic bags. Think grocery bags, bread bags, and produce bags, and drop them off at your local supermarket. As for plastic wrappers, like those from granola bars or candy packages, these usually belong in the trash. However, it's always a good idea to check with your local recycling guidelines, as some areas may have specific programs for recycling certain types of plastic film. Let's talk about food containers, because who doesn't love a good takeaway container? But when it comes to recycling, food residue is public enemy number one. Just like with paper and cardboard, any leftover food can contaminate entire recycling batches. So before you toss that yogurt container or takeout box in the bin, give it a good rinse. If it's a particularly stubborn mess like a cheesy lasagna tray, it's best to just toss it in the trash. Now, here's a little tip. If you're washing your dishes by hand, give your recyclable food containers a quick scrub while you're at it. It'll save you time and ensure they're squeaky clean for recycling. Alright, let's move on to some recycling superstars: metal cans. These guys are the champions of the recycling world because they can be recycled over and over again without losing quality. Whether it's aluminum cans from your favorite beverages or steel cans from your pantry staples, these metals are incredibly valuable resources. And the best part? Recycling them is super easy. Just give them a quick rinse to remove any leftover liquids and make sure they're dry before tossing them in the bin. That's it. No need to remove labels or worry about small pieces of food residue. those get taken care of during the recycling process. So, next time you finish a can of soup or crack open a cold one, remember that you're holding a recycling superstar in your hand. Now let's talk about a recycling myth that's particularly close to my heart: coffee cups. I know, those paper cups seem like they should be recyclable, but unfortunately it's not always that simple. Most disposable coffee cups are actually lined with a thin layer of plastic to prevent leaks. And while this is great for keeping your coffee hot and your hands dry, it also makes them difficult to recycle. The plastic lining can't be easily separated from the paper, so these cups often end up in landfills. However, there are exceptions to the rule. Some coffee cups are made from entirely recyclable materials, so it's always a good idea to check the bottom of the cup for recycling symbols. And if you're a regular coffee drinker, consider investing in a reusable coffee cup. It's a simple swap that can make a big difference for the planet. Online shopping addicts, this one's for you. Shipping boxes are like gold for recycling. They're made from corrugated cardboard, which is incredibly durable and can be recycled multiple times. But before you toss that box in the bin, there are a few things you need to do. First, remove any packing materials like packing peanuts, bubble wrap, and plastic air pillows. These items can't be recycled and need to go in the trash. Next, remove any tape, shipping labels, and plastic windows. These can contaminate the recycling stream and make it difficult to process the cardboard. Finally, flatten the box to save space in your recycling bin. This makes it easier for recycling facilities to handle and transport the cardboard. Alright, let's talk about a serious topic: hazardous waste. These are items that can pose a risk to human health or the environment if not disposed of properly. And unfortunately, many people mistakenly toss them in their recycling bins. We're talking about things like batteries, electronics, aerosol cans, paint, and chemicals. These items require special handling and should never be placed in your regular trash or recycling bins. Instead, contact your local waste management facility or search online for hazardous waste disposal options in your area. Many communities have designated drop-off locations or special collection events for hazardous waste. You know those little chasing arrow symbols with numbers inside them? They're everywhere. On plastic bottles, cardboard boxes, even some coffee cups. And while they're meant to help us recycle, they can also be a bit misleading. Just because an item has a recycling symbol doesn't necessarily mean it's recyclable in your area. Recycling programs vary widely from city to city, and what's accepted in one place might be rejected in another. So, how can you be sure what's recyclable in your neck of the woods? The best way is to check with your local recycling guidelines. You can usually find this information on your city's website, or by contacting your waste management provider. Alright, let's wrap things up with a golden rule of recycling. When in doubt, throw it out. It might seem counterintuitive, but it's better to err on the side of caution than to risk contaminating an entire batch of recycling. Remember, one greasy pizza box or unrinsed yogurt container can ruin hundreds of pounds of recyclable materials. So, if you're ever unsure about whether something is recyclable, it's best to just toss it in the trash. And here's another tip. If you're trying to reduce your environmental impact, focus on reducing your consumption in the first place. The less waste we generate, the less we have to worry about recycling. So there you have it, the truth about recycling. It's not always easy, but every little bit helps. Recycling right doesn't take more time, it just takes better info. Now you've got the knowledge, so let's use it to keep the system clean and effective. Remember those greasy pizza boxes? Yeah, those are going in the trash from now on. And those plastic bags? Straight to the store drop-off. Every choice we make adds up, and together we can make a real difference. If you found this helpful, give us a like, subscribe to Sustainably Rooted, and share this with someone who still recycles greasy pizza boxes. See you in the next video.